Dear students, our today's topic is the advent of Islam in the subcontinent. When we consider the establishment of Pakistan, the advent of Islam, the study of the advent of Islam in the subcontinent is one of the most important topics. And I think this topic should be covered. This topic should be completed uh, in the very beginning of the Pakistan studies. So let's move to the topic. Uh, as we all know that Pakistan came into being, it is necessary when Pakistan came into being, but it is necessary to take account briefly the intellectual, social, and religious revolution brought about by Islam in this region for the proper understanding of the objectives of its establishment. In fact, these conditions provided the real background and gave impetus to the movement of Pakistan. Our beloved Prophet, the last Prophet of Islam, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, completely changed the intellectual outlook of Arabia. Within a span of 23 years, he transformed the barbarous and impious Arabs into a civilized and religious nation. On the demise of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the expansion of Islam was not stopped. The Muslim conquest of Persia, including the provinces of Kirman and Makran, brought the Arabs face to face with then ruler of Sindh, who had made common causes with the ruler of Makran against the Muslims. But it was not until the seaborne trade of Arabs in the Indian Ocean was jeopardized that serious attempts were made to subjugate Sindh. Arab traders had established commercial contacts with South Asia from the ancient times. It was through these traders and merchants that the message of Islam spread throughout the length and breadth of South Asia. Local people were greatly impressed by the teaching of new religion, but the regular preaching of Islam took place after the invasion of Sindh by Muhammad bin Qasim, who defeated Raja Daher in 712. And after that, the religious scholars and saints started coming into South Asia in a large number to guide the people to the new path. The Muslim conquest of Persia, including the province of Kirman, as I have already described, and Makran brought the Arab face to face. Trade relations between Arabia and subcontinent of Pakistan and India date back to antiquity. Long before the advent of Islam to Arabia, the Arabs used to visit the coast of southern India, which then provided the link between the ports of South and Southeast Asia. Then pirates plundering Arab merchant ships. Pirates were used to plunder Arab merchant ships. Then what were the causes of invasion of Sindh? What were those causes? What were the causes of invasion of Sindh? Let me explain the causes. The commercial activities of Arabs. The commercial activities of Arabs intensified after the Arabs had been converted to Islam. The Umayyad Khalifa al-Walid I appointed Hajjaj bin Yusuf as the governor of the eastern provinces. It was during the governorship of Hajjaj bin Yusuf that pirates plundered 8 ships near Debul, a seaport in Sindh. Debul was a seaport in Sindh. The ships were carrying the orphan daughters of the Arab merchants who had died in Ceylon. Ceylon is the old name of Sri Lanka, and many valuable presents sent by the king of Ceylon for the Khalifa and the governor. And Muhammad bin Qasim, uh, uh, now little bit about Muhammad bin Qasim. Hajjaj demanded from Dahir, Raja Dahir, the ruler of Sindh, that adequate compensation, to which Dahir replied that he had no control over the pirates and was therefore powerless to chastise them. So he was powerless to chastise them. On this, Hajjaj decided to invade Sindh. How? Two smaller expeditions having failed, he sent his son-in-law. Then he sent his son-in-law, Imaduddin Muhammad bin Qasim. Imaduddin was his title. Muhammad bin Qasim, a youth of 17 years old, to invade Sindh. Then expedition under Muhammad bin Qasim. Muhammad bin Qasim invaded Sindh with 6,000 picked Syrian and Iraqi soldiers, a camel corps of equal strength, and a baggage train of 3,000 camels. His siege engines included a manjanik. What is manjanik? The manjanik was a type of catapult. It which is manjanik is also called tree buchet. It is a type of catapult use a long arm to throw a projectile. जिस तरह प्रोजेक्टाइल हम जैसे किसी चीज को बांध कर फेंका जाता है, या कोई चीज जैसे लॉन्ग आर्म जैसे प्रोजेक्टाइल, तो मुंजानिक ये वर्ड यूज हुआ है यहाँ पर. So his siege engine included a manjanic work by 500 men. Proceeding through Makran, Muhammad bin Qasim appeared before Dabul in 712. On his way, he was joined by the governor of Makran, who gave him additional force. In addition, a good number of Jats and Meds, who had suffered at the hands of native rulers, joined the Arab forces. After the fall of Dabul, Muhammad bin Qasim turned towards the Nirun near modern Hyderabad and obtained the submission of its inhabitants. Dahir decided to oppose the Arab at Raur. After the fierce struggle, Dahir was overpowered and killed. Muhammad bin Qasim then occupied Alor, which is also called Aror. Alor or Aror जो है वो, which is also called Arrowcourt, is the medieval name of the city of Rodi. Once served as capital of Sindh. यानी ये इनकी बात कर रहे हैं. तो Muhammad bin Qasim then occupied Alor, यानी Aror जो मैंने अभी आपको बात की. Then he occupied Alor. Then he proceeded towards Multan. On the way, a fortress called Sikka, Fortress Sikka yani Uch, situated on the bank of Ravi, was occupied. Then this was occupied. Multan offered resistance for 2 months, after which the Hindus were overpowered and defeated. Prior to this, Muhammad bin Qasim had taken Brahmanabad and a few other important towns of Sindh. Then South Asia was divided into many. What was the condition before before the advent of Islam? South Asia was divided in many small kingdoms and principalities before the coming of Muslims. These governments were at daggers drawn with each other, which brought about political and geographical changes. The whole area had thus fallen into a political turmoil and instability, which adversely affected the progress of society. in the history of South Asia, there was a time when Buddhism was the main religion. The Hindu rulers were the zealous supporters of Hinduism. They troubled and tortured the followers of Buddhism. The attitude of ruler of Sindh, Raja Daher, who was a bigoted Hindu, was very harsh and cruel towards his Buddhist subjects, who therefore looked toward Muslims for help and salvation. The Hindu society was based on social injustice, which imposed very strict restrictions on lower castes. From ancient times, Hindu society as a whole was divided into 4 classes, each class termed as caste. The caste system was rigid and uh, immutable structure of society. Those castes were the Brahmins or the priests, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishya, or the artists, the Shudras, and so on. These were the castes. यानी वहां पर बहुत ज्यादा जो है वो जात ऊंच नीच और जात पात में बटा हुआ था जो इस्लाम के आने से पहले. So the Brahmins formed the religion class and therefore was very powerful and influential. They were experts in the Vedic knowledge and performance of religious rituals. They were held in high esteem and treated as pious men. The security of the country was in the hands of Kshatriyas, यानी जो सबसे पहली दूसरे जो जात थी, who maintained the law and order and defended the people and state. Rulers are aristocrats, soldiers, and other belong to this caste. Both these castes enjoyed his status and considerable influence. The remaining 2 castes, the Vaishyas and the Shudras, were leading a miserable and wretched life. Yani wo nichli zaat. They had no basic rights even in the eyes of law. They were not equal to the people of upper caste. If the Shudra heard the word of holy weeds, they as a punishment put molten lead into the ears. यानी पिघला हुआ जो है वो उनके कानों में डाला जाता था lead. Shudras usually lived outside the 4 walls of the city. There were no intermarriages among the different castes. Castes were hereditary. Therefore, there was no way out of it. Once born a Shudra, always a Shudra. यानी इनकी जो जात 4 तबकों में इनको बांटा हुआ था, जो यानी कि इनको जो निचली 2 जातें थी उनको बेसिक राइट्स भी नहीं मुहैया वहां पर थे. यानी कि वहां पर इस्लाम के आने से पहले जो है उनके हालात जो है कंडीशंस जो है वो साउथ एशिया की इस्लाम के आने से पहले बहुत ही खराब हालात थे. ठीक है. तो intolerance and narrow-mindedness had plagued the Hindu society. Women were given the lowest position. A widow was never allowed to marry again. It was common practice for the wife to burn alive along with the dead body of her husband. Oh my God! This system was called sati. These were the general conditions under which Muslims came to South Asia. Their attitude and conduct towards each other, and particularly with the local people, so impressed the neglected low caste of Hindus that they readily accepted Islam of their free will. यानी जब मुसलमानों का रवैया इतना अच्छा था आने के बाद कि उन्होंने यानी किसी, ये तो हमारे इस्लाम में भी है कि किसी गोरे को काले पर नहीं, काले को गोरे पर जो है वो फौकियत जो है बर्तरी हासिल नहीं है, अरबी को अजमी पर नहीं और अजमी को अरबी पर नहीं, सब जो है वो बराबर है. तो so with the local peoples, their attitude, their conduct was very much impressive. So Hindus that readily accepted Islam of their free will, अपनी मर्जी से उन्होंने यानी मुतासिर होकर इससे इस्लाम कबूल किया, as a liberator from the age old tyranny of society. तो इसमें इस्लाम का इम्पैक्ट जो है बहुत अच्छा था सब कॉन्टिनेंट के ऊपर। जैसे उसमें फिर जो है सिविलाइजेशन इन्फ्लुएंस भी आता है, पॉलिटिकल इन्फ्लुएंस भी आता है, सोशल इन्फ्लुएंस भी आ जाता है, इसमें कल्चरल इन्फ्लुएंस भी आ जाता है, रिलीजियस इन्फ्लुएंस भी आ जाता है। ये सारी चीजें जो है वो इसमें आती हैं। सो फर्दर मोर इंशाल्लाह वी विल एक्सप्लेन इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास। थैंक यू।